most off-putting thing about Warframe is the overwhelming amount of stuff to do and the fact that DE just drops you in the game and the overall kind of difficulty of the game as you progress. This game is very unfriendly to new players. I'm surprised with the amount of time that I played, I didn't quit and just went to touch grass. Now, even if you get past Venus or Mars or Phobos or Ceres, you'll start to notice that your abilities and guns won't do as much damage and you will die quicker. Now, how do you do more damage? You generally just become more powerful. It is to mod your gear. That is what the video is about, doing more damage, becoming more effective, and how to properly mod your gear. This video was actually inspired by a comment I got on this video, which has 1K views. It's the Warframe How to Progress guide, which is pretty cool that it's 1K views. Thanks for this is what this guy said. As a console player at MR30, I can say that I believe that you should try to make a video for beginners on how to mod properly, as there's no one as far as I know that has even tried, and is probably the hardest thing for a new player to try to understand. It is a big part of why people tend to give up quickly, as it's just too hard for people to understand without a guide, and I only stayed because I found a veteran player back in the day that helped me talk through the basics. But I understand not everyone get that lucky, so for the sake of new players and future players, please try to make a video to explain it all in detail, bit by bit, so much that hopefully understanding the system properly will help new players not quit as often, so the community grows. I hope this comment is helpful to you. Well, that was a mouthful, mainly because there's no commas and periods, but it's the internet. We don't use grammar in the internet. To the guy out there who wrote this comment, I hope this video is what you expected. Well, not trying to be worried about expectations fully, but so a little bit more about this video. I'll start off with talking about how damage works in Warframe, elements, crits, and other stats. Talk about Warframes, and I'll talk about how to mod them, how to get mods, types of mods, and how to make them pretty good. Then I'll be talking about modding your weapon in Warframes properly in a little unscripted part of the video. I've never done surprising that I'm doing a little unscripted part and just be me explaining my choices without any words on a screen or something. Okay, weapons also. I won't be talking about sentinels, arcwings, anything that is not weapons in Warframes, but this video should generally apply to everything in Warframe. For that, I want to say if you haven't hit that subscribe button, then, I don't know, smack it across the face. I make Warframe and Destiny 2 guide content that helps players and is free, which is a great reason to subscribe, but I should stop wasting my time and get into weapon basics. There will be time codes for everything, so if you want to get to a certain part, then just go to that part. I really hope people can understand this video and will help people playing Warframe, because I took 2 weeks trying to make it. I stressed a little bit for those 2 weeks. Hopefully this video is sufficient to what I hopefully, like the whole point of this video gets across. Okay, well now let's get into it. We have weapon types. You have rifles, shotguns, snipers, bows, weird special things that are just built different. Spear guns, you got your secondaries, pistols, SMGs, kunais. Your melees, you have swords, staffs, fists, glaives, not those glaives, these glaives. Now weapon stats, starting pretty simple. We have the stats you can find on basically just the most basic weapons in Warframe. You have accuracy, which is how far your bullets will go away from your reticle. You can be spot on, or you might as well be just plain blind. Fire rate, which is how fast your gun fires. Magazine, if you played a shooter, you should know. Noise is how loud the gun is. Bows are silent, while rifles like this one is alarming, sound like turning on your Xbox at 3 AM. Reload is how long it takes to reload, and triggering, meaning it's either full auto or it's semi-auto or it's a charge. Now that's just some basic stats looking at a basic rifle. Some weapons will have different stats, like for example a shotgun has charge time rate, how fast it takes to charge the weapon and punch through for the next potential target. Another one, fall off, which is when at a certain range you do not do as much damage as up close. Secondaries, it's basically the exact same thing. Stat, magazine, accuracy, fire rate, etc. For melee, it's stuff like attack speed, blocking angle, meaning while in hand melee will block at a certain angle, combo duration, range, slam attack, slam radius, slam, radial damage, and slide attack, which are your slam and slide attacks. There's some other stuff I don't want to insanely bore you, and now we're going to go into damage. First, you have critical chance. This is a chance a hit with your weapon will result in a critical hit. Values over 100 have a chance to become orange. Values over 200 have a chance to do red crits. Critical multipliers, the multiplier for hitting a critical hit. Orange crits are doubled and red crits are tripled. Now, status chance is the chance that inflicting a status will happen on an enemy. There are the physical ones and the elementals. First, with physical, there's impact, which does more damage to shields and increases the chance that an enemy is vulnerable to a finisher at low health. Puncture is effective against enemies with armor and reduces targets' damage damage output. Slash is most effective against flesh. Slash ignores the target's armor and burn and reduces target. Slash ignores the target's armor and causes them to bleed. And we have the elementals. You have heat, which is the most effective against flesh and causes enemies to burn for extra damage and reduces their armor for a short duration. Electricity is the most effective against robots. This chains the enemies and stuns them, so make sure you bring this damage type for when the AI revolution happens. Toxin is effective against organic corpus and ignores shields and causes enemies to take damage over a short duration. Cold status is most effective against shields and slow enemies. Now, you can combine status to make new statuses. First, combining heat and electricity makes radiation, makes your weapon effective against alloy armor. It confuses enemies to attack everything at random. Combining heat and toxin makes gas, which is most effective against infested enemies. Gas status makes clouds that damage the target and other enemies nearby. Combining heat and cold creates blast, which is the most effective against ancient infested and reduces enemy accuracy. Effective in electricity creates corrosive, which is most effective against ferrite armor and removes target armor value. Combining toxin and cold creates viral, which is the most effective against Grenier clones, and viral status increases health damage taken by up to 325%. Cold and electricity creates magnetic, which is the most effective against shields. It also disables the target shield regeneration and increases shield damage by up to 325%. So quickly talk about some terms that people talk about multipliers. Crit damage, base damage, faction, elemental, multi-shot. These all multiply damage, and when calculating your total damage, you can do them in any order. Additive damage, the addition of two mods or arcanes with the same description do the same thing. So for example, heavy caliber on a gun with serration adds to the stats. Calculate these multipliers as a percentage of the mod. Let's say serration is max, which is 165%. Then you would then make it a decimal by dividing it by 100, which would be 1.65. Then you add 1, the multiplier would be 2.65. So for example, this Proton Prime with a damage of 35 with the serration mod, multiply it by 2.65, making it 92.8 damage, where it says total damage. Now again, with Stormbringer, while we have serration, Stormbringer with 90% electricity, so 90 divided by 100 is 0.90 plus 1 are 92.8 damage per ton, which gets me 176.2 total damage. I don't have any more space in this per ton. Another example, let's say you put serration on a gun, then you of course add heavy caliber, like talking about earlier, which at max gives 165. Add serration heavy caliber percentages should be 330 divided by 100, making it 0.30 plus 1 to make it. That way the multiplier with heavy caliber and serration, multiplying with proton base damage makes it 150.5. Examples of guns. An important note is when using a physical damage mod / impact puncture, they do not scale off total modded base damage. Instead, they multiply the physical damage type it is on the weapon. If there's no impact on a weapon, putting an impact mod won't do anything. So do the math stuff to get the multiplier and multiply the physical damage type that the mod is multiplying. If you're doing critical chance, then it's the same thing and multiply it by base critical chance. Now multi-shot, basically you have a chance to shoot out another shot. For example, if you have a multi-shot of 3.5, you have a guaranteed 3 shots and a 50-50 chance for fourth. You think, wow, I have to do all that complicated math, and you'd be kind of right and wrong. You can do the math with the calculator, and you don't have to do it because it's more or less just the inner workings explaining the stats. Now you can just see the stuff on this is more just to say how the game misleads you into thinking that you get an insane amount of boost from a mod when you're getting only of just maybe a little bit more, or you're getting a pretty decent boost, but not the boost that you're thinking of. Also, check the wiki for when it comes to calculating their other factors such as armor, quantizing things like void strike, which makes you do more damage, and damage over. So this part is just telling you how to make this number, the total damage. When it comes to Warframes, it is more about knowing what the Warframe is and what you want to do with it. It isn't as simple as let's put elemental mod, serration, crit mod, big DPS, yay. So this part, we'll be talking about the specific stats of each Warframe and some examples of what to center that build around. So let's talk about stats. You have armor, reduces the damage your health takes, health, obvious, and shields, also obvious. These determine whether you're made of tissue paper or you're centered or Armstrong. Being made out of, you then have energy, which is how much energy you have maximum to cast your abilities. Sprint speed is how fast you go, and put duration mods on, they will last longer. Efficiency mods. Efficiency modifies the cost of Warframe abilities. Range is how far your abilities can reach, and strength is how hard your abilities hit. When it comes to modding Warframes, then I suggest going to the wiki and reading about what that Warframe does, and what abilities are garbage, and what abilities are really good. Now, quick note, if you want to become tanky, you can use the mechanic called shield gaining, where let's say you have 100 shields and an enemy did 1,000 damage, then that 100 damage is taken but that 900 will be nullified. You'll also have 1.3 seconds of immunity from everything but gas and toxin damage. While recharging, after fully regenerating, you'll only be immune for 0.33 seconds. The way to do this is use the decaying dragon key, because lower shields equals faster recharge. Stuff that regenerates shield like auger mods, brief respite, or rolling guard for survivability, which makes you immune for 3 seconds after rolling. That stuff is a little advanced, so it's okay if you don't have that stuff. Anyways, that mechanic out of the way, let's do some simple modding ideas. These are going to be what ifs, like what if you want to focus on this thing? Well, except for mag, which we just talk about how to play mag basically. I don't even play mag. So something basic you can make for just anyone is health, armor, shields, just basics. It's like peanut butter and jelly. So let's go for Excalibur. You want to use your Exalted 2 on Excalibur. Let's say you like spamming your first ability. How about efficiency and range? As it is affected by range, or you can have some strength on it to do more damage, and of course efficiency to not use as much energy. Another one, if you like Exalted Blade, then you have the ability and efficiency to maximize the effectiveness of this ability. Now, why not durations? Because Exalted Blade doesn't have a duration, it just drains your energy. So that's why efficiency. Now the blind attack, when you slide using Exalted Blade, it's affected by duration and range. So there's a little pro if you put some duration and range on your Excalibur. You're just using Exalted Blade only. Very extreme idea, but gives the general idea of what it's like to make a build for a specific thing on a Warframe, if you catching what I'm saying. So Volt, we have just a pretty actually kind of realistic example of a Volt build. Let's say you want to go really fast. Well, his second ability is affected by duration and strength, and efficiency is pretty good too, as you know, you don't want to use all your energy up. Having more energy is pretty good too. Using Flow, that's a really good mod. If the Prime version, you're just on another level, and you can go pretty fast. If you want to go fast, you can increase sprint speed by putting sprint speed mods on there, and you're pretty fast. Mag, generally you want to use all of your abilities, and in general, she's a more ability heavy frame. Mag, unlike Volt and Excalibur, is a squishier frame that does not limit her power. First of all, her ability magnetize when tapped, not held down. It depends on what you're playing on. For me, but I know for some people it's gonna be different. What it does is ensnare the enemies in a bubble. Now this bubble is affected by duration, and its pull strength, when it pulls in the enemy, is affected by strength. Now you can use the ability on a ton of enemies to ensnare them and keep them there for some time if you have a pretty high duration. And there's a third ability which emits a pulse that drains shields and armor that's polarized. So you see a group of enemies, you just make them weak, polarize, use your second ability, and then you can use Forward Crush them all, or just use your weapons to kill them. So Mag is more ability Warframe in general. Putting health and shields on her might help, but her abilities are where she's really at. So it's good to have some strength, efficiency, duration, and just all that stuff in general. TBH, Mag is still kind of weak with this general idea of a Mag build. She still needs some augments and helmet abilities. Augments are a type of mod that changes certain abilities for certain Warframes, and that brings us to mods. Now mods in Warframe, they come in many types, and there are many of them. First of all, types of mods, you have normal mods, just your normal everyday mod. Flawed, which are the weaker versions of normal mods. They can't be upgraded as much and are obtained through the Vor's prize starting quest. Primed, which are normal mods but really good, and are only obtained through Barrow Katir and just generally just some special stuff. Mostly Barrow though, through using ducats. Ducats are obtained by selling prime items to the ducat machine or whatever it's called. Umbra mods are mods obtained by doing the sacrifice quest and are made to be used on Umbra and his sword. Amalgam mods are like regular mods, with their main effect a little less than the normal version, but it comes with an upside of an increase of another stat. Galvanized mods are mods that are a little less powerful than their normal versions, but give stacking buffs that make them better than the normal mods. Then there are Nightmare mods, which are obtained by doing Nightmare missions. Corrupted, which are obtained by doing a door thing with a dragon key. Dragon keys are obtained by blueprints from the clan, dojo, or Orkin labs. A little warning, they will give you debuffs, so when placing them, make sure you get some survivability and go to a Deimos node, specifically a capture, because that's very fast. You can just kill the capture target, capture the capture target. and look for a door that looks like this. Open it, pick up orb, and extract. Conditional mods are mods that once a condition is triggered in order to affect the weapon. Conditional mods are mods that once a condition is triggered, the weapon has an effect on. Augment mods, which I mentioned earlier, are mods that modify Warframe abilities to make them better, like Shock Trooper, which when you hold down your first ability gives allies 100% electricity damage for 40 seconds in a 15-meter radius. Rivens, which are super powerful mods for certain weapons, which you need to do. Also, little reminder, put the Riven mod for that specific type of weapon. If it's a rifle, put it on a rifle. Put it on a rifle before doing the objective, because if you don't, it won't count. Set mods are mods that have the same name, like Augur set. There are aura mods, which are mods that give you a boost and go into this slot right here and try to match the polarity as you get a lot of mod points for it. Stances, which are basically aura mods for melee weapons, but it changes how you fight with your melee weapon. Exilus mods are just mods that go into this slot, which requires a Exilus Warframe adapter, or whatever type of adapter you need for an Exilus mod on a certain thing. Anyways, modding, first you have your capacity, which is how much space you have for mods. To increase this, you have to have more space, or you can add a one-time Orkin Catalyst for weapons and Orkin Reactor for Warframes. To use less space, you can use Formo, which resets the gear's level to 1, but gives it a polarity on a mod slot. So what are polarities? Polarities make mods of that same polarity use less capacity. You have Madarai, Vazarin, Naramon, Zenrik, and Umbra, which is for the Umbra mods. Remember, Aura mods and Exilus mods, these are where these go. These on the side are Arcanes, which gives a nice boost when you have many of that same mod and combine them into one powerful mod. Also, a little note, you can put a focus lens when a Warframe or weapon is at level 30. So your mods, when you get them, are going to be kind of weak. In order to make them more powerful is to use Endo credits to upgrade them. Now, Endo can be a resource you have millions of or none. Same goes for credits, which are also used for modding. To get Endo, there are many ways. First, you got the RNG drops from enemies, containers. That's basically the strat on the Void. How do you pronounce that note on Xenia? Voidano? Voidanoy. I'm just pronouncing Voidanoy. Another way is to do bounties from Mother, and is great because you get Entradi reputation, and Entradi is really easy to grind. You can also dissolve mods to get some Endo. Also, if you need credits, you can sell them. You can do this by dissolving duplicates of mods if you have a lot of them. Iatans are statues where you can slot Iron Stars, which can be turned into Maru at Maru's Bazaar. If you have an empty statue, you can slot Iron Stars to increase the Endo value and sell your Iron Treasure for a large amount of Endo, around like a few thousand. At Maru's Bazaar, you can do a mission that at the end you get an Iatan statue. Another way is to dismantle salvage from Railjack missions, and Railjack missions can also give you Endo. So if you do a Railjack mission and salvage the salvage, go back to your dojo or whatever, dock, you can get a pretty decent amount of Endo. When it comes to mods, I suggest using the wiki and a piece of paper or a notepad to make a list of mods you want to get. Now, if you can't get a mod or are having a very hard time, then there's Warframe.market, which you can use plat to trade with people to get stuff like prime parts and mods. So if you have plat, then I suggest using this resource to get mods, but if you don't, sell some prime parts on Warframe.market to get some plat and some mods, and even though some mods can be pretty expensive. So RNG or be broke, you can't choose both. So let's see how it goes. In general, most mods you'll get are from RNG drops from enemies and containers, so do with you. And also a quick thing, galvanized mods come from arbitrations. If you have the arbitration essence, you can go to, there should be an NPC on the right you can talk to, and go down, hit the mods tab, and okay, now I'm time to apply this knowledge on Warframes and weapons, because some basic builds. So simple Excalibur, Voltor, and this sword I can't pronounce. So I'll talk about it unscripted. So unscripted me right now. Also, feel free to roast my builds in the comments. Okay, that should be that. Anyways, live commentary of me talking about making a build for Excalibur Umbra. So pretty simple. We're just gonna put the Umbra mods on there. Easy. And I have a Madarai slot since I haven't even formatted once. I guess he just automatically comes with a Madarai slot. Seems good with some ability strength on that. That seems like a good idea. He already has Umbral Intensify on there. So I don't have have any room for an Exilus slot. That's a big problem. I mean, this is like a very basic build. I don't know, I could probably put some prime figure on it. So also, it will explanation why did I choose Steel Charge for his aura. It's because you get a 60% melee damage increase and have the Exalted Blade, which is a melee weapon, chance to resist knockdown, and some ability strength. I am gonna put a deflect mod or whatever it's called on. Let me find it. Okay, I'm gonna put direction that gives some shields. Put some efficiency on here. So we have 450 energy, 790 health, 620 shields. I don't know about that. Maybe we don't need as much shields. We could probably put something like I don't know about the shields though. I could probably change out something for that. Maybe something more like go with like vigor, which gives health and shields. Should be pretty good. There's also go for fast deflection, armored agility, sprint speed, and armor. Make me more tanky. Or adaptation. This is a mod that's pretty cool. When damaged, you get a 9% resistance for that damage type for 18 seconds. And it stacks up to 90%, which is pretty nice. Restoration, obviously, restoration mod, just 3 damage. Now, what damage do I put cryo rounds, and I can put I'm gonna put a rifle aptitude. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna put a rifle aptitude there. Critical delay for rhyme rounds, thermite rounds. This is a rifle. I can do with heavy cal on there. Probably put some like speed trigger on here for some fire rate, but depends on what you're gonna go for. Split chamber. I don't have enough space. I'd have to forma this again. Do some forma stuff. I don't have any formas because I just don't have any formas. Or I can change critical delay for vital sense. I could probably go for some other mods. Maybe not any of the choices I originally thought, but maybe go for like ammo drum, get some more ammo. Okay, so maybe put some the magazine warp. I get some 78 bullets in my mag. Also, wildfire could probably. There's put hornet strike on there. Just for it's like serration, gives more damage, just base damage. And these don't really need to be accurate, so we can also put Magnum Force, which does more damage. The dual cestras I wouldn't say really need any accuracy. I want to stay away from prime mods since not everyone has prime mods. I'll just put gunslinger on here and make it easier. But for the people with prime mods out there, I suggest using them because they're good. I barely use pistols, so I don't really have any leveled up mods. I will put an ammo maximum on here since this is a pretty decent amount of ammo. I'll pretend it's leveled up for the sake and purpose of this video, I guess. And I'll have all that like cold damage stuff. Cooler idea because it gives me more magazine capacity. What about go with Scorch? This would give me more status chance. I think that's not a bad build. I don't see anything that can be changed. Of course, I'm asking you guys in the comments to maybe change up my builds that I make. Of course, everyone's gonna make something different, so it depends on what you want also. And I don't really care about like stealth or something. I play this game without stealth. Now we're gonna get to this thing. I use Tranquil Cleave. You can basically use any stance mod. I don't have them, upgraded, but just using Tranquil Cleave for this video. So obvious, just put the Umbral mods. So we have pressure. Okay. We have let's put some status mods. Let's put Northwind on here. We have some status mods. Let's think of something. I haven't really put any. Yeah, that shows you how much I just use guns in this game. Let's put attack. Let's put Fury on here. Faster attack speed and Organ Shatter for more critical damage. I'll also just say this: I'm gonna stray away from that because everyone's gonna also have Amalgam mods since they come. Dude, where does it even drop? I know you can get them from the roll below list and Thermia fractures from completing the certain amount of Thermia fractures, but put some Molten Impact on here. Got some heat. And Fear Strike. We got gas damage. This is going to be good against the infested. What else we got? It is a sword, so Rending Strike, Slash and Puncture. Seems like not a bad idea. I probably have to go to the wiki and forums and maybe see if someone talks about it, but also combo. This Carnus Mandible I don't have fully upgraded. Let's put that on there. We got more slash and status chance. And Exalted Blade. I'll just this is my Exalted Blade build I currently have on right now. Well, Umbra Exalted Blade. We have Fury, Fever Strike. I probably could move Life Strike and put it something else on there. I don't think I have any space though. It depends. There isn't really anything. I could put this. Oh no, I already have Northwind. Actually, move that because that'd get more space. And then I could probably put something like a Organ Shatter. I'm guessing I already have that. No, I don't have that on here. Get some more critical damage on my Exalted Blade. So I guess I'll explain it. Sacrificial Steel. You know, these two make sense. You know, it's mods that are made for this weapon. Slash and Puncture. It's a sword. I don't know, I guess it's more just like makes sense, but Slash and Puncture is pretty good. You know, Slash causes the bleeding, and Puncture does, you know, reduce the target's damage output, and armor is, and it's pretty good. Puncture is pretty good against armor and reduces enemy damage output, so it's pretty nice. Same for this one. It isn't upgraded, but Slash, you know, bleed, status effect, attack speed. I know I can attack pretty much faster, and that's a good thing, I'd say. Fever Strike and Northwind get viral. It kills Grunier pretty easily. You can pretty much interchange any elemental mod on these weapons. You know, for certain versions, like kind of the ones that give the 90% of that certain elemental damage. You can change it out. Like I can change out this for Northwind for actually no, change out Fever Strike, Molten Impact, and look, I get Blast. Blast. Boom. I can change it out for Shock and Touch, and I get Magnetic. I forgot what makes radiation. You can basically change out any elemental mod. So if you want to, you can do whatever. Now that was how to do more damage in Warframe, and that was a little more than just doing more damage. It's how to mod your Warframes with weapons, and if you're still watching it, then hit that subscribe button. It supports my channel, and comment down below on how I can make these builds better. And hopefully this video helped you. I'll see you next video. Goodbye.